Hello and welcome to Mythical Meeples. Today I'll be unboxing Tyranid's Deathleaper, Lictor and Neurolictor for Warhammer 40,000. If you're in the UK and want to pick these up at a discounted price, then head over to Element Games using the link below. I'll get a 5% kickback for every purchase you make, and you get generally around 15% off every Games Workshop product. And don't forget, if you want to support me as well, you can like, comment and subscribe. First up, we're going to unbox the Neurolictor. So the Neurolictor is a new unit for the Tyranids. You can see it here. Whereas Lictor and the Deathleaper are remakes of older models. So there's surprisingly little in the Neurolictor box. You can see the instruction booklet. You can see the sprue here with lots of different pieces on. And then you've got the base here. So let's have a look at the instruction booklet first. So you can see here you start off by making the body. Just got a few little claw bits here as well. So mostly big pieces so far. And then you start building up the various tentacle parts on the head. And then you start by attaching various arms as well. And then you can see here, it's got 50mm base as we saw before, and you end up with a model that looks like this. Don't get any variants of this in the kit, so if you want to convert this, you'll have to do it all by yourself. So let's look at the sprue now. You can see already just how detailed this is. You've got all the ribbing on the flesh, you've got some folds in the muscle, the carapace, sort of cracked and chipped. You can see the detailing on the brain here. Again, you've got the ribs here. Tail's a little bit flat, but that's to be expected. Yeah, you can see all the sort of grooves in the tentacles here as well. Let's have a look for mold lines on the mod. Oh yeah, you can see them almost straight away on the main bulk of the body here. And on the legs here, and on the tail you can make them out as well. So the model looks like it'll be fairly easy to build, if a bit fiddly, and unfortunately there will be a lot of cleanup required due to the presence of the mold lines. So that's the Neurolictor done. Let's now have a look at the Lictor. So you can see on the back here already you've got a couple of variants that you can make using this kit. So you've got a version that's sort of standing upright, you've got one that's leaning forwards. I think you can make a third version as well. So here we've got the inside of the box. Again, you've got the instruction booklet, 50mm base. This time you've got 2 sprues, so you already know that you're going to get multiple variants on this model. Just in comparison to the Neurolictor, you've got sort of 2 of the same size sprue as the one in the Neurolictor. So taking a look inside the booklet, you can see here you've got 3 different variants that you can make. The first of which uses several different body parts, so it's more upright, and the other 2 sort of more leaning forward, so might share some pieces. So you can see you start by building up the legs and the lower half of the body, then building up the torso. Then you've got all the arms, which come in lots of different pieces. And then you finish it up by building up the cranium and the head. Number 2 is, again, you start by building up the legs and the body, and then the arms and the head. And you end up with this variant, just the one on the back of the box. And then again for the third option, you start by building the legs, followed by the body, and then the arms, to end up with this one. So let's have a look at the sprue. So you can see here you've got the different parts. You can see 4 legs here, which means, looking through the book, two of the legs are the same for pose 1 and 2. The right leg's the same for pose 1 and 2. Left leg's the same for pose 2 and 3. And then you've got the odd leg for the other ones. You've got different tail options here by the looks. Oh, these are the claws actually. The talons. You've got the tail as part of the body here. You can see the ribs. And you can just see how detailed these are, just like the Neurolictor. You've got chipped and cracked chitin, lots of ridges in, well-defined sort of muscles on the leg, and then these weird vents that all the Tyranids have. Got lots of sort of small components as well, which you use for filling in the gaps between the arms. Look at those claws. And you can see the sort of tentacle more here. I think you've got two different head options. So potentially if you're very good at converting, you could potentially get 2 lictors out of this. If you're really skilled, potentially you could make a third, but I think that's very unlikely. It's very, very detailed. Really, I've always loved the Lictors. They're really, really cool models. So let's have a look for some mould lines. So looking for mould lines, you can just about make them out on the leg here, but they're very, very faint. So removing them should be really easy to do. On places like the arm, you can't really make them out at all. So in contrast to the Neurolictor, building the Lictor should take a while, but cleaning up and removing the mould lines should be much, much faster. So that's it for the Lictor. Let's take a look at Deathleaper. So there's been a lot of controversy on the internet over Deathleaper. The cape on his back is much like Marmite, and a lot of people either love it or hate it. Personally, I really like it. I think it sort of adds a bit of flair to the character, and I like the fact that it breaks up the silhouette of the Deathleaper to make it easier for it to camouflage. So you can see on the back here, you can make out the different details of the base. You can sort of see on the head here, the sort of face it's got, the tentacles coming out of it. So it's quite sort of similar concept to the Lictors, but more detailed and with obvious variations to make it stand out. So let's have a look inside. So you can see here, you've got an instruction booklet, this time a 60mm base, and then you've got 3 sprues this time, which is obviously bigger than the Lictor and bigger than the Neurolictor. So there's no variants on this one, but you can see that again you start by sort of building up the torso, building up the lower half of the body and the legs, the sort of cape, and then sort of attaching the legs as you go. Then you work by building up the arms, attaching the various arms and the sort of back of the body. So you've got quite a few arms on this model. Then you go and start working on the head, building up the head, and then finally you work on the base and attach Deathleaper to the base. So it could be quite easy to build your own base if you don't particularly like to have the industrial bases. You could easily build up a little rock for Deathleaper to stand on should you wish. Look at this sprue first. As you can see, a lot of the pieces of the base are here. You've got the tentacled face, sort of part of the head here, and then you've got the right claw as well. So even though this is just the base, it's still really detailed. You can make up all the sort of chipping on the metal and sort of Tyranid spores growing off of it as well. You can see how detailed the face is, all the sort of ribbing in the tentacles and on the head. See if you can make out any mould lines. Doesn't look like it on this part of the kit that you can just about make it out on the arms, but they should be relatively easy to clean up. Easier than the Neurolictor, but a bit harder than the Lictor. Let's look at the other sprue. You can make out the extra pieces of the base here and here, and sort of all the other pieces fairly obvious what they should be. You've got the tail, the talons, pieces of the cloak, and the various sort of claws and the legs here. Really, really detailed, far more detailed than the Lictor and Neurolictor are. You can make out all the muscles on the arms and on the talons. And let's have a look for mould lines again. So yeah, you can see them on the leg, but again they are less prominent than the Neurolictor, but more prominent than those on the Lictor. And again, you can make out sort of the details on the base as well. So they've put a lot of work into this kit, and it really, really shows. And that's it for today. That is Deathleaper, the Lictor, and the Neurolictor for the Tyranids. Again, if you want to pick these up and you're in the EU, head over to Element Games. You get them at a discounted price, and if you follow the link in the description, you'll also give me 5% kickback, which costs you absolutely nothing. Just drops a cookie into your browser when you use that link, and then it lets Element know that you've come from me. If you want to support me in other ways as well, you can become a member of Mythical Meeples or support me on Patreon. You'll gain access to extra content, behind the scenes, sneak peeks, or you can just hit that like, comment, subscribe below, and that helps support me as well. So thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.